guys can see, this week's reading was much larger than they usually are. So I tried to get as many of the cards in the frame as usual. The format for the most part is still the same. The reason I'm showing all of the cards at one time is because I'm going to be bouncing around a little bit because the themes intertwine. So I just wanted you to all to have a view of all of the cards, and then as I bounce around, I will point to or I'll indicate um, what card I am speaking on. So in general, these three here at the top represent the challenge for the week. These two here represent energy to embrace, energy to avoid, and then these four on this side represent the overall positive message. So first, starting with the challenge for the week, I'm going to start here. You guys are experiencing a situation where you either feel boxed into something, like you are being forced to operate at a level that is not aligned with your fullest potential. You're boxed in, you can't really do everything you want to do, that you feel called to do, or that you feel drawn to, and you're struggling with that feeling that life is too basic right now. You don't like it. Or the flip side of that is you are yearning for that type of basic answer. Whatever it is that you're struggling with, there's a whole bunch of options. There's a whole bunch of ways to go. There's a whole bunch of different directions that you could take, and you're having some difficulty really examining those options. And okay, you're having some difficulty examining those options, and you're having some difficulty finding a course of action that you want to take, to the point that you feel stuck and you just want a clear, concise answer on do this thing. Just tell me what to do. Tell me which way to go and I'll do it. Just tell me what it is, because you guys are tired of feeling like there's just so many things and you don't know which way to go. So the energy to embrace to help you navigate that is just being, well, both of these actually. I'm trying to move things around. So both of these, right? Being open to the fact that there are other options, there are other things that you can do, and seeing the beauty in having options, and being open to the fact that you got to try some stuff. Like, and this goes for both if you feel boxed in or if you feel like there's too many options and you don't know what to choose. Just try. Like, just try it. Like, you too serious. You doing too much. You're being extra. Like, it's not the end of the world if you try something and it doesn't work, or if you do something and it isn't fruitful, or it's not like this big splash. That's okay. You're trying things, and you need to be open to trying different things and taking the lessons that those different things bring to you. So instead of looking at the situation as though you're boxed in, you can look at it as, okay, so I'm being called to really focus on this area right now. So let me just be open to everything that I can get from this experience, because if I'm being directed to be here and only here and do this one thing and only this one thing, then clearly there's a lot of things that I could take from it. So you need to just be open and just play around with it. And what you'll find is there's a lot of things, even though you feel boxed in and you're not able to do everything that you wish you could do right now, when you become open and you start to play around with the space that you're in, you'll start to recognize that there are a lot more different aspects of where you are than you first realized. And when you start to play around with it, when you start to have fun, and when you start to just be looser. Just be looser in the way that you're engaged with that space, right? Like, don't take it so serious. It's not the end of the world. And the more you open yourself up and you play with it, you'll find more and you'll be more satisfied. For those of you who feel like there's too many options and you don't know which way to go, same type of thing. Be open to trying things. Be open to just trying stuff out and playing with stuff. And as you do that, it'll become clearer for you. So these two are energy to embrace. Energy to avoid is getting stuck on something. And this applies for both scenarios, right? Don't get too stuck in your ways. Don't get too stuck in your beliefs. Don't get too stuck in your perspectives. Don't get too stuck in this idea that, I have to do this. Be it that I have to do this and you're not happy or satisfied, or the feeling that you have to do something to the point that it's making you anxious and it's making you feel like um, everything is going to fall apart if you make the wrong decision. So you want to avoid that energy that pushes you toward that stuck feeling. Turn away from that, because options are good to have. When you have a bunch of options, then that means you can design your life the way that you want to. And when you're open to whatever space that you're in, when you're open to seeing those options, whether it's because they are, at the time, they're too overwhelming, or that you're too busy staring at a corner and you can't turn around and see all the options behind you. Once you recognize that you do have options, that's when you have the opportunity to then design your life the way that you want to. So that comes with, can you guys see this? One of the overall themes is that once you go through this process and you open yourself up and you play around with some things, you try some things, you toy around with your options, you're not too stuck in your ways, and you'll be able to design your life how you want to. You'll be able to create it and make it what you want it to be once you open yourself up to kind of experiencing new things, and you're not too stuck in the perspective that you have now, or the path that you decided is the one that you need to take. And one of the reasons that this reading was so big is because that whole idea of you feeling stuck because either you don't perceive yourself to have enough options, or that you perceive yourself to have too many options. One of the reasons that this reading was so big is because there's a deeper theme there. There's a deeper theme in being open to trying things out. And that is because the more that you, okay, I'm going to take some of these cards out because it's getting crowded and I can't focus. Like, it's just too many and I can't freaking focus on what I'm talking about. Okay, so move my crystals around. All right, so the deeper theme here is that you are being given an opportunity to really figure out who you are. You're being given an opportunity to really dig deep and figure out where your light comes from on the inside. The truth about who you are, what your purpose is, what you're good at, what you're here to do, the work you're here to do, and the innate skills and gifts and qualities that you have that enable you to do that work, as well as the behaviors that you've picked up that are preventing you from seeing who you are, what your purpose is, and how you were perfectly designed to carry that purpose out. So, in this process of you feeling stuck and opening yourself up to kind of play around with your options, it'll become clearer. It'll all become clearer to you when you start to open up. While you're stuck, you're not able to get a clear view of what's going on. When you open yourself up, when you open up your mind, when you open up your heart, and you are more willing to try new things, then you will be drawn much more clear to where you need to be and what you need to do. And in that process, you'll be able to see much more clearly what your purpose is and how the space that you're in now can connect you to what your purpose is, and how the space that you're in now will propel you toward what your purpose is. That this isn't necessarily a time when um nothing's going on for you, but it's really an opportunity for you in a low pressure situation. That's another important thing, right? That's one of the reasons why the energy to embrace is playfulness. It's a low pressure situation, but if you play it right, so much can come out of it. And you'll have a renewed focus and then a renewed plan of action for how you'll move forward for designing your life the way that you want it to be. And then it takes courage to do that. It takes courage to be able to say, no, this is what I want, and I'm not wavering from it. It takes courage for you to stay with it, because everybody's not going to see what you experience in the situation, the lessons that you learn and that you take and that you integrate from the situation. Everybody's not going to have that same perspective or that same type of understanding. So it's going to take a lot of courage from you to be able to stand on that and to move according to that, because it's not going to be as obvious or as clear to the people around you. And this process of trying things out, although it's low pressure and although it is like a trial and error, like a test run for you, if you play it right and you shed all of those things that you've been stuck in, all of those ways and those perspectives that you've been stuck in, and as you start to shed those, it just becomes so much easier for you to just be and to stand in who you are, who the true essence of who you are and why you are here. And that's the beauty of going along for the ride, being open and just allowing life to teach you, is that if you are open and if you are mindful of the lessons that you're being taught and not succumbing to guilt or shame or perfectionism, being too hard on yourself, or these standards that I know a lot of the people that follow me on social media, we're all the same age. So we're all creeping up on 30. And then there's this feeling like, damn, like, this is my life. Why don't I have this? Like, I thought it would be different when I was 30. I thought I would have this. I thought I would be doing that. Or this person is doing X, Y, and Z at 30, looking at these celebrities, looking at this social media, looking at what other people did and what other people are making with their life at this age and at this time. And that can really cloud your judgment. And when you shed that and when you let that go and when you don't stay too stuck in that, you don't allow that to dictate the way that you move about your life, when you are now open and when you understand that the reason why you don't have so much is because all of that responsibility and that pressure would stop you from seeing clearly who you are and what you're here for. And then this is a purification process so that you can shed all of that and you can shed all of those beliefs and those ways of moving about the world, and then you pursue the real thing, right? Then you put the plan in action. Then that's when you really start to kind of put the pieces together and move forward with what it is that you are called to do. And then it also takes courage in knowing that and standing in the fact that you are exactly where you're supposed to be. You're doing exactly what you're supposed to be doing. You're not failing. You're not a disappointment. You're not missing out. You have not missed a chance or the opportunity. You are not slacking. You are not um you're not what's the word? Because I already said a disappointment, but that's not what I want to say. Like, you're not, um, you haven't gone too far that you can't come back. And you haven't lost so much time that you can't make it up. And it can feel like that, especially when you see the world around you moving. And it's so important that you don't allow yourself to get stuck. Don't allow yourself to get stuck in that perspective. And stay open and stay playful, stay joyful. And don't get too serious with the moves that you're making and the things that are going on right now. And just be mindful of what's happening and what you try, how it turns out. How does that align with who you are and what you want to do? And then take that lesson and move on to the next thing. Take that lesson and move on to the next thing, and rinse and repeat. And at the end of it, as I said again, just to tie it all up, you'll have a renewed focus on who you are and what it is you're called here to do. You'll have a very clear plan of action and a very clear pathway to design your life and create your life and model your life the way you want it to be, in a way that meets your needs and is not established according to the standards of society, the standards of your parents, the standards of the world, or the standards of somebody else who is in a similar situation as you and did X, Y, and Z. You'll be able to be courageous and create your life in a way that suits you as an individual the best. And you will not have all of the baggage and the weight of the old perspective and the old standards holding you back.